kept his head straight, it'd have gone right through his temple.
There's no way that they knew at that time when they're giving him
All right, we're gonna call this meeting to
the
order.
second
We have
shooter.
a city council workshop, today at 5 p.m. We do have a certification of a quorum. Uh, we do not have any public comments for this right now.
No.
And,
If you're ready for us to jump in.
I'm ready to jump in.
Okay, as Brittany makes her way to the podium, I kind of want to offer a few statements about this budget as we prepared it. So when you see this presentation, you'll recognize a few things. The budget does not include any new programs. It does not include any additional staffing. In fact, we removed a proposed utility position and instead reclassified an existing position into a supervisory role to address succession planning within the department. So we found a way to address that concern without adding to the headcount. And so the budget does maintain the organization we already have. As a reminder, and she's going to point this out because this is going to be a big feature of this presentation, last year employees received no compensation adjustment. And they continued to show up. And I remind you of that in our emails weekly, that our employees are still showing up and they're responding to emergencies, they're fixing water leaks. You don't need to know all the things they do because you know if you're reading the emails and you're living in the city, and they continue to serve our citizens. So this year we're attempting to rectify that, and that reason is simple: for recruitment and retention. And so we recognize that the labor market's changed, and every city around us is competing for the same employees. So keep that in mind as she walks you through this presentation and the proposal we have in front of you. I'll let you jump in.
Okay. Good evening, Mayor and Council. As usual, this is our first kickoff for budget, so this is very preliminary. We're still waiting on a lot of stuff, final numbers, waiting on health insurance renewals, all of that fun stuff. If you have any questions or concerns, if you don't want to express it here, please let us know. It's a lot easier to fix and change stuff before we issue a proposed budget than after. Lot of clarity and ease in that sense.
Let me interrupt you just a second. It says on the agenda that we're gonna take official action. Should we take that seriously?
I think that's just the template and how that's formatted. You won't be voting on anything today. The whole point of this workshop is to get feedback so that as we build the proposed budget and give it to you next month, we make sure if we put something in this presentation you don't like, we take it out. And if there's something in here that you want that we didn't cover, we put it in.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, so first off, sales tax. It's always a hot topic. This is the predominant source of revenue besides property taxes, so we watch it very closely. It's extremely volatile, as we all know. Right now, we are trending in a good spot. We're going to hope it stays that way because that helps our budget and our tax rate. As of now, assuming that the next 3 months bring in what we had, assuming that the next 3 months bring in what they brought in at least last year, we're going to come in 9% over what we budgeted in sales tax. That is great news considering how we started the year. For this year, we're proposing...
Sorry, can you go back to that slide, please? Sure. The 9% increase, does it, do you see any anomalies or anything, any type of trends in the last 2 or 3 years that indicate that 9% would change?
Last year that decreased significantly, right. So we can't trust the trends anymore because there's two top taxpayers. They're in the top 5 that are inconsistent. And so, and the weird thing is what happened in February, the drop, well, that was overcompensated in March and April. So you see that the gains there, it looks like they reported back a few months later. This one, we're holding the line. Did we increase it in the budget? 2%, I thought. Something like 2%. I think she put on there that we held it, but I think we bumped it a hair. We were afraid because last year that's what caught you in the audit was that big drop. We lost nearly $1 million in sales tax. So we didn't want to go through that again. Our approach to this was leave it. If you get extra revenue from it, we'll use that for one-time purchases. That's what we've been doing to support the police vehicles. That's what we have done to buy playground equipment, and that's what we've done to buy major equipment. So none of that's in here, and the hope is that we get that 9% again, but we're a little nervous about it because of what happened last year.
Well, historically, what are our best months?
Do you break it down by?
Usually like
February.
December, February, January, those come before the holidays. So remember, we get this, so the sales tax payment we'll get in June is actually for sales from April, so it's 2 months behind. So typically, the beginning of the year is when we see the highest because of holiday shopping.
Okay.
Kind of touch on what you're reviewing trends, you make a trip they were pushed back like 21%.
No.
So it's easy to assume that the 9%, you're cautiously optimistic that
Right.
the trend would elude you, but 9% may hold.
Yes, that's exactly right.
Good.
It's not reflected, though, in the budget,
Right. Well, you can't do that
so.
because of last year, for
Right.
instance.
Yeah.
Hopefully it'll hold.
Hopefully, that's the hope. So this year you're going to see a 5% or $1.50 cost of living raise. You see the difference because a salaried employee is going to make more on a 5% raise than a base water utility parks employee. So in an effort to try to help them more, we're offering them $1.50 an hour. That gets them a little bit higher than 5%, which would be very minimal for them.
You want to walk them through how we got to 5%?
Yes. So last year, as Courtney mentioned, no raises were given. And as all of you have taken the hits at home, everything else has gone up. Groceries, gas, electricity, utilities, childcare, whatever it may be. And our employees have caught the brunt of that. And not only that, but some of our benefits here have changed as far as insurance or, whatever it may be that they have their family on. So those costs went up. They did not recoup any of that because we did not do raises last year. So it seems high, sticker shock, but if you think about it, this is for 2 years of work. So a lot of these people, most of them are still here. I mean, we don't have a whole lot of turnover for the full-time employees, but this is a way to incentivize, hey, we understand you didn't get anything last year. We're trying to catch up this year. There are no new positions. We are reclassifying the utilities position. I believe it's a crew chief now, or kind of the method we're going is reclassifying to a supervisor position. This is more in the tracks of making sure that there's always somebody there that's trained that kind of knows everything in case something were to happen.
Yeah, this is to add some depth to our bench and utilities. Our utility director could retire at any given moment, and we want to make sure that we have a backup quarterback. And so that's the intent here, is to make sure that there is a point person in his absence, or if he decides to retire, or as he gears up to retire in the future. We are not aware of his intent to do that, and we hope he doesn't. But in the event that he does, this is succession planning.
I want to go back to 5% raise. I wanted to ask, I see Garrett's here and the chief is here. All right, would your employees be happy with that? I mean, is 5% going to be enough for them?
I think so. I did a little analysis in our department based on the rates. So we went with this, about half of my department will get 5%, half will get $1.50. Because of the higher you make, you get better deal with 5%. So I think some of the lower paid employees will get almost 6+%. And so I think given the area, losing last year, not having maybe a 3%. So I think this is equitable.
Well, I'm just wondering, can we stay competitive with the other sheriff's department and the other people? Okay,
I think that we can't compete.
right. We're competing with the sheriff's department.
Get anything, last year, Martin and the sheriff on the raises, so that's why this year I think it's very important that we do step it up. And, most people I've been out in government 40-something years, you're usually expecting about 3%. Right. So I think 5% would be a well received.
Garrett asked for $2 an hour, and we tried to do the workout on the $2 an hour for the employees. We just had so many on that list, and I'm looking at Tori because he worked through the numbers on this. We were really apprehensive about what that did to the tax rate in the general fund.
Okay.
And so that's what held us back. So we put in the $1.50 and I can answer it for him. I mean, ideally, he asked for $2. He's the reason we switched from an approach of 5% across the board to let's look at the hourly, because they need to be considered differently. Please let them know if I'm misrepresenting this in any way. But we pulled it back because of our concern. And honest, candidly, we wanted it to be equitable for our paramedics and our police officers, police officers and for our guys that go and jump in the water at 4 a.m. in the freezing cold.
On Christmas Eve.
Yeah, so that's where our head was. Now, if you want us to look at this differently, we are completely open to that. If you're willing to, she hasn't gotten into it yet, but this is going to require a tax increase.
I just didn't want to get to where another city competes with us and gets our, especially in the police department and the EMS. Those are what I call skilled positions.
Correct.
Yeah.
Agreed. I think we're already there, though.
Yeah.
I feel like you're already getting that, and so there's other things we've put in this budget that address that that aren't in the form of pay, and we can walk through those in just a moment.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions? Okay, next we're in tax rate. Every year, pretty much for the last 3 or 4 years, we've stayed at the no new revenue rate. We try to stay there. We do not want to raise taxes, just like everybody else. We pay them as well. Unfortunately, it's going to have to happen. We cut a lot out of the budget last year, just like raises, and this year we're trying to catch up for it. And unfortunately, we can only do so much with what we have without a tax rate increase. This is a breakdown of a City of El Campo residents' tax bill and what their taxes are going to. If you see in yellow, that's the City of El Campo. If you look down, that's ISD in orange. Junior college is that kind of bright colored green. The hospital is the darker green. The county is the burnt orange looking color. It kind of gives you a better perspective of where your tax bill is going, not just all City of El Campo. I know that's a misconception that we
Yeah,
do
when
quite a bit.
people read the newspaper and they see a tax increase for the City of El Campo, they automatically assume that that's the reason their taxes are $6,000 a year. And you're not that much of it. You're right at 26%, 24%, sorry. And what, I don't know if you're quite ready to disclose what we're going to ask for, but I think the illustration here is to show that the main culprit is the ISD. And that's because that's their only funding source. And so that's why you're seeing it represented that way. I think it's really important that we get our messaging out that we are not the largest taxing entity, and a penny and a half tax increase from the city would only be a $2.50 increase a month. And I think that needs to be communicated pretty effectively, and that's on us to do.
And that's on a $250,000 house.
Yeah.
Valued house. This is a little different of a comparison, again, of all of the taxing agencies this year versus last year. Not this year, 24 versus 25. So we don't have this year's yet. Everybody's kind of working on that now with their budgeting process. Last year, there were 3 agencies that went above the no new revenue rate, and that was ESD 1, the junior college, and the hospital district. Everybody else stayed at the no new revenue. I think 1 went below. We are looking at proposed rate increases to water and sewer, the transportation user fee, and then, of course, garbage will be determined. Hopefully tonight we'll find a direction of where we're going with that. Regardless, there's going to be an increase. We just don't know how much yet because it's going to depend on what we go with or what direction we're given. As of now, we're looking at a $3 increase to residential account, so $1.50 on the base charge for water, $1.50 base charge for sewer. Again, I will remind you, this is the base charge. This won't fluctuate. That's a flat amount. It doesn't matter on your volume. That's just set. That's all it'll go up a month. We are looking at $2.75 for water and sewer for businesses and schools. And then, of course, the seniors and disabled are 20% less than residential. And then I figured out the annual in the last column as well. These are current utility bill comparisons. So our rates currently are the top row. The proposed are the next one down. And then that's Wharton, Bay City, Rosenberg, and Richmond. Wharton historically goes up every year, as does Bay City. Rosenberg has held steady for the past probably 6 or 7 years. They're looking at an increase this year and then doing a rate study for following years. Richmond usually goes up a little bit as well. And this is a minimum bill currently proposed for the city and then for the other agencies right now. And that would just be your water, sewer, garbage bill from us versus surrounding cities.
It's a monumental difference between us and Wharton. Even with the rate increase, you're still $50 under their base bill. And your tax rate, when we did the math out, it was, the difference in taxes between Wharton and El Campo was like $140
$40.
annually that you pay more in El Campo, but you're paying at least $50 more a month.
In utility services.
When people complain about El Campo, sometimes they're not looking holistically at what it costs them for the water and sewer and garbage. We're not trying to get to Wharton's prices. Unfortunately, you just have old infrastructure, and that's what it costs to deal with it.
Does anyone have any questions on the rates? The next one is the transportation user fee. And again, just to refresh your memory, this is the fee that is assessed to all accounts for trash services. It's essentially the wear and tear that the trucks cause on the road. Commercial gets the brunt of it because you think they have more freight stuff coming in, bigger trucks tearing up the roads. So this money is specifically designated only for street repairs and purposes. That's all it can be used for. It can't be used for anything else. Just street repairs and maintaining those and stuff like that, just for the streets. So we're proposing to go up 50 cents on residential and commercial a month. So again, that would be $6 annually for both. Some of the capital requests that you will see in the budget is a mower for the Parks Department, some parking lot repairs, point repairs to different parking lots or parks or city infrastructure spots. There's some servers and IT upgrades. As all of you know, that's constantly evolving because hackers. The list of streets for seal coating next year. We also have to replace all the stop signs. Isn't that mandated?
Yes.
Yeah. A new hazard mitigation plan, which I think we partner with. Yeah. So that's
Also mandated.
yeah. New chemical scales that are
Also mandated.
very much needed. New ambulance, some park benches, and then some plant piping repairs on the Montserrat water plant. So
Don't you just love unfunded mandates?
Almost everything on there.
mhm,
I mean, it's-
pretty much everything beneath seal coating. Our current debt, we did not add. Yes, sir.
What does it cost?
He's doing half this year and half the next year, right?
Yes,
So it's 18,000 for this next year to do half, and then we're gonna do 18,000 the following year to do the other half.
How about if we don't replace them all? We got way too many.
The consequence for not doing that, but we're
Yeah. That's okay. No debt was added this year, so we just removed 26, updated the numbers. Those are our payments for the year. This does not include the SIB note. We are aware of it, though. I think this year it's right under 400,000, right? Right under, yeah.
So what
That's
she
it.
didn't include in the report, which I let slip. To balance this budget, we need $0.015 in the tax rate right now. We don't know what new construction is gonna be, so that number could go down. That's the worst case scenario, $0.015 increase. That's $2.58 per month, that we're asking, in addition to what they'll be putting on the, utility bill. But we think that you would probably be prudent to make a tax increase, if it's, number one, to support the budget, but we recognize that the Texas legislature is gonna make it nearly impossible for you to do that after 2027. They're gonna make all of this voter approval, however you feel about that. And so the fiscally responsible thing right now is to make sure that we have enough money to support our budget, even if it involves it, not artificially deflate the rate so that we're stuck in future years. The other thing is, we do have more capital coming your way. And so we will be looking at proposing a debt issuance in 2027, for a major arterial road in this community. And of course, you'll have to make that decision then and not now, but that does affect your tax rate. So, partially it affects your tax rate. So that's why we're asking for a penny and a half. We know that nobody on this DS wants to increase the tax rate. We didn't even really want to ask you for it. But unfortunately, with the way that the costs have gone up, and it's not just the labor cost, the fuel cost, the insurance costs. We restored stuff to police that we had taken away last year in an effort to get that down when we dropped the sales tax 900,000. But of course, you see that the sales tax may come back up. So this could all change. We don't have the number for June yet, so this is preliminary. If there's something that makes you uncomfortable today, please let us know. We'll pull it out. We'll regroup and we'll represent. And if there's something we didn't include, I mean, Mr. Hodges, you brought up a really good point. If you want to see the numbers with the ask, we'll include it. And if you don't want us to go that far, we won't.
I just wanted to make sure we weren't gonna lose personnel in the police department and EMS.
Good point.
So you said y'all didn't factor any type of increase into these proposals?
Minimal.
2%, I think. I thought you did 2%. Did you not do any?
Was it 3? I don't remember. We went back and forth on what to do because we were trying to be conservative because it's so volatile.
How conservative are you?
That's the question. So, I mean, again, once we get numbers, well, we should have numbers Wednesday or Thursday for June. We can regroup and see where we sit. And if it's looking the same, more comfortable, we can drop that.
Before we present the proposed budget to you, we'll have June and July's.
Yeah.
Right? And that'll give us a better sense. And if those numbers are trending in the same way they've trended, then we can bump that from 2% to 4%. That'll change the game.
Right.
It could make this whole thing look different. And then we could reevaluate what Garrett's asking, and or we could evaluate what that tax increase looks like. We wanted to give you worst case scenario tonight. That's what we wanted to do.
Yeah, this is all preliminary still because we're waiting on numbers that will impact this.
And we haven't factored in new construction at all, which we know gives us around 25,000 for the general fund. So that's not in there.
How different do tax rolls look after the protest season at the CAD? I would imagine it's marginal.
Yeah, it really is, because she
So
factors
if
that
says
in.
there's $1 million
Usually,
people protest 6,000. It's really hard to justify some of these, any of the people there. But you're taking the numbers that we all received 6 weeks ago and using that, knowing that it's not going up, but it could go down slightly.
I think she didn't even use those numbers because she didn't trust them. She held last year's because there's a reluctancy to.
Trust the CADs. Is there any anomalies in the county that are not in the county, but in the city that you've watched that you can't fix?
Well, our planning director found some today. So,
Yeah.
Can they be resolved? Probably, if we catch them enough. I mean, we're now going behind and monitoring new construction and making sure it's appearing on the tax roll as it should.
Right.
Because we've noticed in the past that there's been properties that haven't made the rolls.
Large properties.
What's a penny and a half percentage wise?
Percentage wise, a penny yields 88,000. We're looking to need 115,000.
Last year was 88,000, so we won't.
He's looking, I guess, the percentage of. Absolutely.
Yeah, it's
100%
kind of hard right now because it's all preliminary. But yeah,
Like I did a quick deal on your user transportation.
right.
A penny and a half is 3% increase.
I've always said no new taxes, but the people didn't get a raise last year. You've got to pay your people or you're gonna lose your people.
We're kind of running into that.
Yeah. Sooner or later, you gotta have that income from somewhere. It just don't fall from the sky.
Well, whatever, all of us and everybody else has to realize is we've got an inflation factor. And if the city's not growing,
True.
if our appraised value is not growing, our sales taxes are not growing, our costs still go up. I mean, so everybody in towns has cuts, the same situation, their costs go up, whether their income goes up or not. We gotta factor it in and accept it.
That's why we're glad to have an
Yeah.
experienced council.
Yeah, I mean, it's
With
not
knowledge.
ever our option or want to raise the tax rate. Like, we do everything in our power to avoid it. But I mean, in this case, it's kind of unavoidable this year. If we don't do raises again, we're gonna start losing our workforce. And I mean, you've seen some of the bigger repairs that we need. I mean, that's infrastructure that can't be avoided. Or we end up with
Repairs
collapsed
cost more, your
lines.
fuel costs more, your tires cost more.
Yeah,
Yes, sir.
everything.
Y'all have done,
Insurance.
y'all have done,
Insurance costs.
y'all have done an excellent job on keeping it down and everything, but there's a time, you know, like we're saying here, everything goes up except the wages, and we gotta take care of our people, because that's all we got. You know, it's our EMS, our police, and of course, our workforce, Public Works. And, without them, you know, we ain't got nothing, so we gotta make sure we get people taken care of. Nobody wants a tax increase, but, as Mr. Hancock said, and Mr. Hodges, you know, it's, we gotta move on, and that's part of the deal, you know, so.
Okay, don't worry, we'll be back. We'll be back in July with an update and the full report. Thank you for your time this evening.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
All right. This time, this meeting's adjourned. Thank you.